tuning in to Chaos Culture Radio. Dropping knowledge in the studio, you already know.
Thank you for tuning in to Chaos Culture Radio. This your boy Prince Hakeem.
And you know this is your man Ronnie Ron. Hey, Hakeem, we back at it, man. We don't stop. We don't see.
Let me tell you something. That last episode had me sweating.
It did.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's cold in Miami. You know what I'm saying?
Cold ain't the word. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I didn't know Jabari came and brought some heat for us.
He did. I'm sweating. I'm like,
you know what I'm saying?
My nose, I had to throw him away.
It's definitely gonna be a hot summer this winter. It's gonna be hot for a lot of you insignificant Negroes who don't want to get on board. If you're not gonna get on board, you're gonna get left.
It is.
Plain period.
No, but Hakeem, this topic here is actually a part 2 now. Because we did part 1, but this is a part 2.
Part 2, leading up to something that I've always wanted to talk about, but we have two of our brothers. Now, mind you, our brothers. Let's get something straight.
Absolutely.
These of our brothers are ADOS brothers. Let's get something straight. There's no separatism here. You know what I'm saying? We grew up around these brothers.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I think this is a topic that needs to be talked about because JP touched on some things in the last episode that I'm going to say something that's going to get people mad.
Yeah.
And I am because I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't because, you know what I mean? I practice what I preach and I stand on it.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? We got Jabari and JP back on with us again. Y'all brothers say something?
Absolutely.
Hey, it's Jabari here again. So good.
Now,
JP, who topic was the ADOS topic? Jabari, that was you that wanted to.
That was Jabari. Y'all brought it up because I feel like it's time to really explain that. Because we just need to know what the meaning of ADOS is. There's a lot of bad articles out there,
very, very
shaming that ADOS, and we need to really explain what that organization is about and what we're trying to do here.
Oh no, definitely, okay. and I want you to start it off.
Yeah, start it off. Oh no, go in.
JP, was you gonna say something? I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
It's up to my brother, but I can definitely help him out in terms of giving the introduction of ADOS and stuff like that. So it's up to him, because I know he wanted me to talk about it.
You set it up first, because you're the reason why I even know what ADOS is. So I felt like you're the man to pretty much really set it off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So just to give y'all a little oversight, everybody here knows what ADOS is, but just for the listeners. So ADOS is a political organization. It's also an identity, and it stands for American Descendants of Slavery. ADOS is the brainchild of both Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell. Antonio Moore is a UCLA graduate. He graduated from Loyola Law School. He's a defense attorney. He is an executive producer of a documentary called Freeway Cracking the System, which is about the original Rick Ross's story. And they were the first people to interview the Nicaraguan people who were, involved in the origin of the crack cocaine epidemic. They were the first people to have them on camera. And Yvette Carnell, who is the other co-founder, she is a Howard University alumni. She hosts a weekly show called Breaking Brown. She is a former congressional aide and Senate staffer for Barbara Boxer and Congressman Marion Barry. And to me, both of them are just intellectual geniuses as it relates to the space of Black politics. I'm reading obviously from their bios and stuff, but I will say that I've been in different spaces. I've been in the Pan-African space. I've been in the Black communist space, because this was what I studied in school. I studied African American studies. When I found ADOS, I found my home. This is, I think, where, first and foremost, African Americans or native born Black Americans belong in terms of receiving our political education. But ultimately, I think the advancement of ADOS will actually benefit and have a domino effect throughout the diaspora. I strongly believe that, and we'll get into that. So yeah.
Go ahead, Jabari.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much for these past, I'll say, few weeks to a month that Jay been having sending me links to pretty much join the Breaking Brown episodes that Yvette has been doing, and also what Tune has been doing every Thursday. Well, Yvette does the Breaking Brown every Monday through Wednesday on YouTube, and then with Antonio Moore, he does his thing every Thursday, which is I think he just passed tonight. And
Yep.
What I grasp about that is just more about it's more about getting African Americans like ourselves reparations that we deserve. It's about really opening our eyes and seeing pretty much what's going on and how the people that you vote for and who they really and who they think that and who what you think you are.
Right.
We for example, we sit here and I was watching this one episode and with Miss Yvette Carnell and how she was pretty much breaking down how everybody's making it seem like Obama is like this God sent. He is a great man, according to a lot of people. There's a lot of things that he hasn't done for the black community that he tries to brush off. That is pretty much blamed because it's Congress in the House. A lot of Republicans are passing their laws down to make it work. And watching these episodes, it just really opened my eyes and made me realize is that Obama wasn't really for the black people. It was just more about the gays. It was more about the immigrants. It was more about, everybody else but us. And we was like the last of the totem pole on a lot of things. When certain, killings that happened, was looking for somebody to, not say killings, but like social injustice, like, the killings of unarmed black men from policemen. We was looking for somebody who was already the chief, the head of the country, to get up and stand for us. But what I realized is that he'll say a statement and he'll put that sad face and just keep it moving. There's no movement to be made. There's no pretty much not And the episode I was pretty much watching, I get the episode. Miss Carnell is just pretty much saying that, hey, if Malcolm X was in that position, if Marcus Garvey was in that position, if Rosa Parks was in that position, all of our black elites, all of our, historical black leaders, if they was in that same position, they would have pretty much died to make sure that the country understand how social injustice is not okay. And we're going to pretty much eliminate that by all means, whatever they had to do. I just feel like it was never in Obama's heart for us.
Yep.
But I was going to ask you, didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to ask you and JP a question. Because a lot of people say Obama has did a good job in the black community. I want to say, what stuff that he didn't do that he failed the black community? In what way?
Well, I'll say this. So, to be fair, we know that when Obama came into office, and what typically happens is that Republicans hand Democrats a catastrophe, just like Bush handed Obama catastrophe. Trump is handing Biden a catastrophe. So when Obama came into the office, we were on our way into another Great Depression. So he had a lot of stuff on his plate at that time. But what happened during that time is that you had a housing bubble that was occurring. And one of the things that happened is that you had a lot of these institutions like Wells Fargo and Bank of America who had targeted black communities with these subprime loans. And an example in particular with Wells Fargo is they had these things that they called mud loans, and mud referring to the color of our skin, that dark brown. These were subprime loans that targeted African Americans. And under the Obama administration, black people lost 40% of our collective wealth. and the majority of our wealth is held in our home ownership. And so, from the teachings of Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell, one of the things they point out is just the failure of the Obama administration, not necessarily to go through Congress, but to use the 15 different departments in your administration to do something to hold these institutions accountable so that Black people can have that wealth restored, because we're already, the foundation of ADOS is rooted in data. And the biggest thing that we focus on is the lineage or racial wealth gap, where you have under Obama an increase in $35 trillion in white wealth. And like I said, a 40% decrease in wealth of Black people. So what that does is it creates this divide where Black people are at a time right now where we think we can pull ourselves out of this bootstrap mentality, this LLC movement, where we think we could buy homes and start businesses and pull ourselves out. But there's an article on The Nation that says that it would take African American households 228 years to catch up to white wealth. And what we don't take into account is that
200?
Absolutely. Wow. And I will send y'all resources. But what we don't realize is that if we were to catch up, if we were in 228 years to do all of that work, that white wealth would have expanded exponentially, because you see people like Jeff Bezos, you know what I'm saying, making like $18 billion in a day. That's unheard of. Before the 1980s, we barely had billionaires, you know what I'm saying? So that's the root of ADOS is talking about our wealth position in this country and just trying to essentially paint a picture for African Americans that allows for them to operate from a space of reality rather than like this dysfunction. Because a lot of people are, and I know I'm talking a lot, but a lot of people are profiting off of our demise, whether they are white or Black people who are grifting off of this Black space trying to make $1 off of us. So yeah.
But wow,
brother, you said a mouthful there.
He did. That just hurt my heart.
No, he said a mouthful.
I'm sold out for ADOS.
Now, mind you, I'm gonna give you my opinion. Now, I want to speak from my own heart and my own experience. I'm more intertwined with ADOS than a lot of people who comes from the diaspora. My brother married an African American woman, and she is a descendant of slaves. She could trace her lineage back to papers. I've seen it. I've been to her house in South Carolina. My youngest sister had a baby with an ADOS brother. I've only dated ADOS women my whole life. I grew up in Liberty City.
Absolutely.
So speaking from that sentiment, and I want to speak from the point of being a kid born in America, whose parents are from the diaspora, who say that ADOS people have never turned us away. They never told us we couldn't live in their neighborhoods. I'm getting somewhere here. You know what I mean? They allowed us to come. They never sectioned us off. You know what I'm saying? They never practiced any forms of separatism. When I talk about separatism, I'm talking about people from the diaspora who come here, who benefit from a lot of the programs from the civil rights situation that went on, free lunch and all these other things that I went to school for free because of the ADOS folks. I don't know what other people talk about. My folks are from Haiti. So when I speak from I'm speaking from a person who best friends are ADOS, who I see what they've been through and see their lives. So I have an unwilling support for reparations. And I've seen it firsthand to say that Black Americans have had the shitty end of the stick from day one. You know what I mean? Who built this country? Nobody. If anybody objects from that, they're a fuck nigga.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Speaking from reading history, speaking from understanding this, and understanding why it's important that we need to get behind people like ADOS and FBA. You know what I mean? You got Tariq Nasheed, who started another splinter group, which I support. I support as well. Foundational Black Americans. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of people started to get an issue. It's always an issue when Black Americans want to identify themselves And I don't understand why, because Haitians, Jamaicans will let you know who they are off back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Great
So
point.
Got
off back.
Carnival.
Off back. So it killed me when ADOS was formed and FBA was formed. People was ruffling their feathers, but a Haitian person would correctly, or a Jamaican would tell, hey, no, I'm not like them.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a Dominican person would tell you, no, I'm Dominican, knowing you're African.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So it is these type of points where Yvette Carnell and Antonio are talking the same speech where, yes, you need to have a plan for Black Americans, and it needs to be in writing. Black Americans need to be treated like Native Indians here. You shouldn't be able to pay no taxes. You should go to school for free. You know what I mean? And there should be trillions of dollars given back in stipend, and nobody should not say shit about it either. You know what I'm saying?
My question to you, Hakeem, because on the context of reparation, a lot of people feel like reparation is a bad idea for the Black community because we don't even understand the value of a dollar.
That's none of our business.
But you get what I'm saying? Because if we get reparation, it's not going to go back to the Black community. It's still going to go right back to the
That's
the
none
white
of our
community.
business. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The debt that the Black Americans has paid here has not been paid yet. It needs to be paid. It needs to be paid in full. I don't give a fuck if a nigga go out and buy him a Lambo with that money. It's none of my business.
But the whole point of reparation, like for example, the Jews, when they got reparation, it went back into their community. But the reparations going back outside of our community, it doesn't make any sense.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead.
No, you can finish your point if you want to.
Let me tell you something. You can't expect a lost group of people. Listen, you can compare Black Americans to when they led the people out of Egypt. They didn't know where they was going. They've been in bondage for so much in their life. How they going? They don't know what they doing. They wanted. We gonna wander the planet for generations, and this is what happened until we get right. But the point I'm not gonna say is that they don't deserve that money. If you give a kid who's a descendant of African American, he is owed that money because his family had paid the debt. You know what I mean? Or whatever debt they think the debt has not been paid to them. They need to be
giving
paid
a child money. But my thing is giving a child money that has no form of wisdom on how to use that money. It's going to put the child right back into bondage.
But here's the point. Here's the point of that. And I'm speaking just generally. There are going to be certain things that in place and mechanisms are going to help Black Americans, but still, whatever they do with their money is their business. Not all Black Americans are going to gook off the money. We know that because not all Black Americans are built the same. You have ghetto Black Americans, you have middle class. There's different layers of them, but we need to start respecting that.
I agree.
I wanted to chime in really quick, not to cut you off. So, a couple of points. First and foremost, I just want to say I am grateful to be on this podcast with two allies of ADOS. We are all brothers at the end of the day. That's what it is. It is essential that Black immigrant brothers from the continent of Africa and throughout the diaspora in the Caribbean support ADOS in this mission. So y'all are doing great work. So as it relates to the question that you raised, Ronnie, about, people spending it, in ways that are not productive, you have to understand that it's not, first and foremost, it's not our job to make excuses or to make arguments against reparations. That's not our job. We already are going up against a force of white people who at some point are going to disagree with this. So as Black people, we should not be in the way. And what I find is that the hardest obstacle to reparations is trying to convince Black people, whether they are Black immigrants or ADOS, of, the importance of reparations. Because it's not a want, it's a necessity in order to be able to maintain and survive in this country long term. The other thing I wanted to say in terms of reparations is that what a lot of people don't understand, and you can go to ADOS101.com, that's the website, that's the official website of ADOS, is that when you talk about reparations, you're talking about policy. And so you can write into the policy to make sure that we take into account all of these different factors that would lead to Black people giving their money right back to white people. Like, what Hakeem was saying before in terms of the protections that Native Americans get, in terms of the precedent that was set for land redistribution and reparations, in terms of liquid cash, you can write into the policy to make sure that you can protect financially those assets that are going to African Americans, because what we speak to in terms of reparations is not just a one-time check where you can run out and buy a Lambo. It's supposed to be intergenerational. Just like Jewish reparations are intergenerational, they're still receiving reparations from that time period of the 1940s when they went through the Holocaust. You're supposed, it should be given to African Americans, not just in the form of cash, but definitely in the form of cash, but over a certain period of time in order to close that wealth gap. So take into account that the policy, you can write all of that stuff into there to make sure that we don't make these mistakes.
Good point, JP.
Yeah.
The only reason why I brought it up because I would listen to different black people had this topic of reparation because they feel like it's gonna make more black people even more lazy to not do nothing for themselves. So they feel like that's gonna be more of a cripple for our community. Because right now, let's keep it real now. Right now, a lot of black people isn't working because of this pandemic. Yep. However, it made black people even more lazier because now they say, I'm just waiting on my stimulus check. So now people want to say, you know what, I'm waiting on my reparation, so I'm not going to do anything. No, you're supposed to get out here, you're supposed to work the same way a normal, regular citizen works. But that's the problem a lot of people is having with the reparation topic. That's the only reason why I brought it up to Hakeem.
No, definitely.
No. You did the right thing in bringing it up because we have to pose those questions in order to make sure that we deal with that.
No, 100%. And I agree with that. You know, the thing is, what you just said is a stereotype that's been placed on black Americans for generations about being lazy, which is a very small few percentage of black people who are lazy. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. There are those sector of people there, but it's not as many. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you have a lot out there who's going to go out there and get it. But the point is, we need to stand behind this and stand behind it firmly.
I agree.
And here's the funny thing about this. Black people fought for affirmative action, right? People from the diaspora enjoyed that de facto. Listen, when that came about, Africans who was coming in here was topping on people because of what African Americans had laid out for us. Civil rights. There's a number of laws that was passed because of African Americans that we enjoy and drink fruitfully.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to talk about that. I bring those things up. I talk about those all the time. I say there's a lot of things my mother benefited from. I benefited from. My brother, you know what I mean? Who African Americans have done, and we don't give them enough credit. Because you want to know something? When they make these type of things and we go to enjoy the benefits that African Americans do, they don't ask us if we're African Americans. They just say, hey, go right in here. You're in that line. Or you're black. You're right over there. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And my brother,
man.
you seen that. You feel me? And I'm telling you, I went to college. I could tell you something. I won a scholarship out of state where it was pertaining for black Americans, and I look black and I'm American. You feel what I'm saying? You know, I'm being even real, and this is why I fight so hard about that because I'm from Miami. You know what I mean? We grew up in Liberty City. Most of our friends are African Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So when I think about these things and I understand this, and to piggyback on what JP said, I read a lot to understand, and I even forced myself to go. I went to the African American Museum in DC. You know what I'm trying to say?
Amazing.
You know what I mean? In DC, because it's out of respect of homeboys who I lost over the years, and you know what I mean, to touch that, you know what I mean, to let them know that I'm holding hands with them in solidarity. You feel what I'm saying?
That's it.
And I'm gonna fight this fight because hey, I'm potentially gonna have a kid that's gonna be half African American, and whose dad is a Haitian, who's Haitian American.
That's true. Yeah, that's a truth. That's a fact.
That's a great mixture right there, in my opinion.
It is.
Oh, beautiful shit.
That's a revolutionary mixture right
Listen,
there.
our brother Jabari's married to a Haitian.
Yeah, he married.
Oh yes, he is.
He is.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I am.
Exactly.
Yes, I am, man. Look, hey, hey, Ronnie and Jay, you know how I feel about Caribbean women, man. We're
Oh,
Caribbean
already
women.
know.
Only dated
Food.
nothing
Oh
but
my God.
that. Oh, look, that's gonna be another podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, right now,
The sauce
Jabari, I'm dating.
leg in
Right
all
now,
that,
Jabari,
yeah,
right now, I'm dating a Jamaican woman, so I know. Trust me, I know what you mean. You know what I'm saying?
No, but
Yeah,
I want to touch on this
but
because I want people to understand from my experience with ADOS so far, it's just more about getting what's owed to us, which is reparations. We feel like the African American culture has been a lost cause lately, in all due respect, because you have everything else is shine in front of us, where you have different cultures, like you have like the Nigerians, you have and my Haitian people, you know what I'm saying, everybody. But I just feel like African Americans, we're like in the last of the totem pole in regards to getting what we deserve, which is also respect, because we pretty much had a hand, more than a hand, in building this country. So it's to me, it's more than just reparations. It's just trying to be, have us to be elite again. You know what I'm saying? If we were ever elite, I thought we were, but
our actions are absolutely
right. So ADOS has been great. I'm still learning, honestly. That's why I haven't really said too much about it. Because I'm just been joining the YouTube episodes from Miss Carnell and Antonio Moore. But I think it is time that we shed light on ADOS and understand it's just more than reparations. A lot of people, I see a lot of bad articles saying that we're pretty much the reason why that, potentially this past presidential election was going to be affected, that we was going to damage the vote. And it's pretty much more than that. It's just waking up everybody just to see what is really going on, Again, yeah, go ahead, Jay. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. But you said something that was important. I just wanted to speak to something really quick that Hakeem was saying. Then I wanted to touch on what you were saying about the election. And I know we're going to move on to the next topic, but really quick. So it's very important to understand that the purpose of ADOS is to create specificity, because like you guys were saying before, what happened was after the civil rights movement happened, you had LBJ go to Howard University and he gave a speech about, the legacy of white supremacy against African Americans and how it has essentially denied us the ability to gain and maintain wealth, and then the plunder of African Americans. And what you had directly after the civil rights movement was the Immigration Act. I don't know, I think it was like 1970 something. But what Yvette Carnell, which is controversial throughout the Pan-African community and throughout the diaspora, but what she argues is that in 1980 with Ronald Reagan, the same president that gave you crack cocaine is the same president that put forth policies to bring in a massive number of black immigrants. And there's a book that we read in the book club. If I remember it correctly, it was Black Immigration and the Remaking of Black America. This is where it gets controversial, is that what we're saying is that we're not specifically blaming black immigrants, but what we're doing is we're pointing out the fact that you can be used by white supremacy without knowing it. So what I mean is that black immigrants were brought into America in many ways to mask the failure of African Americans or ADOS people, because what happened is you had a policy that was specifically set forth to help undo the damages that were done. And fast forward, you have African Americans, you have Latinos, you have white women benefiting from affirmative action policies that were not meant for them. The only people who don't benefit from affirmative action are white men. And so that's really the point that we're making, is that they allow for other groups of people to come into the country before they fix us. And as a result, it has a negative effect on us. So it's not personal against black immigrants. It's not personal against immigration at all. A lot of people try to bring up Yvette Carnell's association with P4 or PFIR. I forgot what it stands for, and they're saying that this is a white supremacist organization that is anti-immigrant. And what she said is that she went to that organization to make a claim on behalf of ADOS people against the current immigration policy, where our stance is more moderate on immigration, where we believe that we're supposed to bring in immigrants based on a need and not, just open borders. We're not saying the people who are here now, who are first generation or even DACA people, should be sent back, but we're saying that we have to make sure that we're looking out for ourselves in the country that we built. So that's I just wanted to clear that up. It's not personal against black people of the diaspora. It's just saying that that's what the situation that America has allowed to happen.
I support you 100%. What you said was spot on. And I also want to say this, and this is for a lot of people who want to try to put a cloud over when ADOS and FBA are trying to speak and they want to mention Mexicans, want to mention this and that. Shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm just meaning that because I notice that a lot when ADOS people are trying to talk about certain policy. They're trying to bring forefront for African Americans. You have a lot of people who try to overshadow the conversation. Now, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. I don't think if it was AOC who mentioned Hispanics and Puerto Ricans.
Yes, it was.
You know what I mean? And I said to myself, I sat there and I'm like, what is she talking about? Mm-hmm. Like,
absolutely. There was an article. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're right. I said, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got here.
Absolutely. No, I was just going to say really quick, there was an article that did come out that was saying that Latino people are seeking reparation from the United States because of foreign policy issues. But that is jumping the line, you know what I'm saying? And that's the other thing when she talks about coalition building. Coalition building just can't be ADOS people jumping on board with everybody because we have a specific history in this country where we've experienced discrimination, so we just going to go and help everybody. No, when you build coalition and partnership, it has to be a equal basis in terms of you rub my back, I rub yours. You know what I'm saying? So for example, if I'm going to support DACA, I need those 11 million illegal immigrants who not to their own blame, their parents came here legally, but it's not their fault. I need them to support reparations. So, yeah, that's all I want to say on that.
Good point. Good point.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Jabari.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm just piggybacking
this is final note. Go ahead. This is final note, Jabari. Go ahead.
Just final note. Just want people to realize we're piggybacking what Jay's saying. The true meaning of ADOS is not against any other black culture that we have in the country. We just fight for what we deserve and really just fight for our respect as well. And that's pretty much about it. I'm still learning this, so the more I learn, the more I pass it down to my, more pass it down to my family and pass it down to the rest of the world.
Yeah, same here. Y'all taught me more about ADOS. I salute to Jabari and JP. Yesterday I actually joined the podcast where the lady was actually speaking about ADOS. It was really good. So it's good to see what's actually out there to try to help and build the black community. And I want to tell we got to make sure we put it in the description so people can go and do more research about ADOS. I know a lot of black people do watch our podcast, so they might say, hey, what is ADOS? So for them to be on a podcast like today to break it down, is it truly an honor? You know what I'm saying? Because it kind of gave me some clarity too.
Right. If you really want to know the basis of ADOS, go to this website, ados101.com. It just gives you the meaning of ADOS and the whole background, how it started. So if you want to know, it's ados101.com.
Definitely. My last words is this. If you support ADOS and you support the movement on African Americans, black Americans, they're very different, and support the movement and support reparation and just support them wholeheartedly, we want you to stay in this country. We will welcome you here with open arms. We will fight for you. But if you are the people who are talking crap about African Americans, and you come from the diaspora, or you're Hispanic, or you're a white European, we want you to get out of the country, and we will support deportation 100%. We don't need you here. We don't want you here. We don't want that.
Hell.
I'm not cutting no short. I don't even care if it's a bunch of Haitians. I see you here talking crap about Yankees or talking crap about Black Americans. I would call INS myself on you niggas, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm not rocking with I'm not rocking with nobody who's not rocking with African Americans, and that's on Lava Dawn, and that's all I gotta say on that.
Okay,
and my last word.
Go ahead.
My bad. I gotta say this. I'm sorry, guys.
Go ahead.
ADOS would kick me out the group if I ain't say this real quick.
Say it.
FBA, I understand that the members of FBA are ADOS people, but FBA and Tariq Nasheed, in my opinion, Tariq Nasheed is a metrosexual con artist who took, and I know this is controversial, but who took the intellectual property of ADOS and created FBA. So I don't blame the members. But the creator of FBA is a con artist and somebody who grifted off of ADOS to create his own thing. So that's all I gotta say.
KR Culture Radio.
And we out. And I support that statement what he said. Peace.
Man, I just appreciate y'all just listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.